All right, that's the final whistle. Well, actually, this is the final whistle. I'm your host, Jordan Fort. Of course, we're going to give you all the analysis you need on day 10 of the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. And already there have been a few upsets. Of course, there's been lots of drama, exciting moments. They have been plenty. The third set of matches in the group stage have arrived. And guess what? It's been do or die as teams have one final chance to qualify for the round of 16. Joining us are top analysts, of course, as usual, to break it all down. Let's give you them in order now. Andrew Price, he's the head coach of Calabar High School, and Humble Lion, and he's a technical director there, and various other sporting pursuits all over the place. President of Boys Town being one of them. Sharona Forrester, she is a former reggae girl, and she is an award-winning scholar. Shavar Thomas, he's a former national captain of the Reggae Boys and assistant coach at FC Cincinnati 2 now. And Eric Rademacher is technical director at Campion College. He's also assistant coach at Arnett Gardens FC. So he and Andrew Price will be going head-to-head looking to win the Jamaica Premier League. We're also joined via Zoom by the former assistant coach for the Reggae Boys, Miguel Coley. He's now the assistant coach at Salal SC, and he is over there in Qatar, in the Gulf state. So he has a great perspective to give you as usual. And junior analyst Liam Henriquez is also with us. We're going to start in reverse order and talk about the matches which have just been completed. In fact, there's a match still on, lady and gentlemen, because the United States and Iran are still doing battle to see who will qualify there. The United States leading by 1-0 in that contest. And if that remains a scoreline there, the US are through, joining England into the round of 16. So we're keeping a close eye on that, and we'll tell you all about it. But England booking their place in the round of 16 with a 3-0 victory over Wales. Old rivals meeting again. England looking to exact some revenge. We're going to start with Coach Andrew Price in breaking it down. Coach, there was a lot of, pressure. You know, the English media loves to bring pressure on Gareth Southgate before this game, having drawn their previous contest. Who to start? Who should sit on the bench? He made 4 changes, brought in some people that the fans were calling for, and his team responded with a 3-0 victory.
Yes, it's not usual that you see a coach relent to the media, but as you know, the British press is a very irate press, so he actually gave in. And he started some players that wouldn't normally start. You know, he brought in Rashford and Foden. People are all calling for those players, and it paid off, you know. England won the game comfortably, 3-0. He also brought in Walker and rest Trippier, who normally played at the right fullback position. So the changes that he made today worked, and, you know, he got the result that he needed. England wins the group, and will definitely play Senegal in the round of 16. So it's good that you're able to rotate your players and give a lot of the players that were playing in the first 2 games an opportunity to take a rest, and also to see what kind of form the people who are on the bench are in when you actually start them, so that you have that difficult decision to pick the best starting 11 for that round of 16 game.
And by the way, it's official now. The USA will join England in the round of 16 from that group, because they've just completed their victory over Iran 1-0, courtesy of a 38th minute strike from Christian Pulisic. Captain America is what they call him. Christian Pulisic getting the win for the USA. Want to stay focused on the England-Wales contest, Shavar, and bring you in on this one. The 4 changes that Gareth Southgate made. Rashford scoring a double. And of course, Foden getting on the score sheet as well. So he's looking like a genius right now.
Most definitely. When things work for you, especially the changes as a coach, you know, that speaks well that, you know your squad, you know what you want, and you know what you're looking for in terms of the combination and the players. And it's very good that the guys off the bench, especially Foden and Rashford, not getting much playing time to come out there and execute. You know, that speaks volume that they're a professional and they're a part of the team and looking forward to, you know, advance into the next round and doing well.
Yeah, you know, Coach Miguel Coley, when I saw the lineup for England, I had been reading before that game against Wales. There was one suggestion that he should bring Rashford on, put him on the left, because he would partner with Luke Shaw on that side, and, you know, the familiarity playing for Manchester United, and Foden coming in on the right with Kyle Walker. the familiarity playing for Manchester City would have worked wonders for England. Do you think that was what had helped make the decision for Gareth Southgate?
Well, I'm not sure. I think it was more the pressure, as Coach Price said. In the first half of the game, it was 0-0. You probably said, well, nothing, you start questioning yourself if it was the best decision. But quickly in the second half, the England team showed their quality, they show their speed, they show the type of team that they are, team that will vie for the World Cup. So it's a quality team, Rashford today, I'm happy, as a Manchester United fan that he came in and he did very well. He scored 2 goals. Foden was always running at them, driving, changing the rhythm of the game. And I think that was very, very important for England. Henderson, he came in, sat and allowed Bellingham to be a little bit in an advanced position. So Gareth Southgate rotating his players, not only making changes, but also rotating players inside of the midfield. And it proved beneficial to them today.
Coach Rademacher's, I guess Coach Coley hasn't yet gotten the data on the distance covered because I'm sure he'd be reeling that off in a short while. But Coach Rademacher's, when you look at the England performance, after the first game when they beat Iran 6-2, and then they drew against the USA 0-0, we started saying, okay, is this a fluke? Is this the real England? Are they contenders? Does this result change your mind any at all in terms of how much they could contend for this World Cup?
I like to believe England is somewhat in a favourite role, especially when we look at the group stage. And those teams tend to do enough when it really matters. And when you take care of your business in the first game, the second match, is not that crucial as that third match or that first match. And I think those teams, I thought we saw similar with Netherlands, when it really needs to, they're able to somewhat comfortably still get things done. And I think that was part of England today.
So, Sharona, having made these changes now, what's his best lineup, Gareth Southgate? I mean, is this it? Does he stick with this going to the round of 16? Does he revert to what brought him 6-2 victory over Iran? I mean, where does he go?
I think he'll probably use a mixture. I think he should now rest Kane and bring in back Sterling in the lineup. But I think
for the round of 16?
Yes, I think he needs to rest.
That's a big player to rest, though.
Yeah, but he's been running the whole time. If he's not fit, then he will probably slow it down in there. But I think it would be a mixture because I think it's not just the pressure from the media. I think he also knew that he could have made those wholesale changes today. So it would be interesting to see his pick going forward.
Liam, what is it for Gareth Southgate? Is this his best lineup? Does he make more changes going to the round of 16? Where do you think he goes from here?
Oh no, this team was fantastic. In the USA game, saw a lack of urgency. They put in the likes of Foden and Rashford, and they were the ones who scored the goals. So no, I don't see any changes. They played very well today, especially in the second half. So I don't see any reason for him to change the lineup.
What does this lineup give him that his previous lineup didn't, Liam?
I think it's just, a bit of flair. I like, Foden. I think Foden brings a lot of energy to the game. As a young, energetic player, which I wanted to see. I wasn't upset with him, not starting USA game, but I definitely think he should have come on over Grealish or even Henderson. I think Foden brings a lot. Rashford off a dead ball is fantastic, as we saw today. And I just think these players, Rashford and Foden, just bring a bit more energy and flair to this team.
Yeah, so the English will face off against Senegal. We'll have lots more time to talk about that. I want to shift focus now to USA versus Iran. The US, knowing that they needed to avoid defeat going into that contest and doing the business, getting the job done via Christian Pulisic-Shavar in the first half. Maybe not as convincing as they would have liked, but it probably was because of the stage, knowing what was at stake. They didn't want to go all out for more goals.
Yeah, I mean, they know what was at stake. X's and O's go through the windows in these games. Tactics, everything goes through the window. And it's all out for win. Everybody. What I'm most happy with the US team is that from their first game to this one, they have grown from strength to strength. And I'm looking forward to see what they do against the Netherlands.
Yeah. Coach Price, I think most people would have thought that the US would have won this more handsomely. Was it reasonable to think so, or do you think it's just about getting the job done?
No, I think when you look at the game, you look at some of the geopolitical things that are associated with these two teams competing against each other. The US was in a position where they needed to get a win, and Iran only needed a draw. So it was always going to be a cat and mouse game, and I think that the US really took the game by the scruff of the neck and really penned the Iranian team back in their defense, and they played well. And sometimes you only need one goal to win a game, and they got the one goal very early from Pulisic. He wasn't able to continue for the rest of the game, but they managed the game for the remainder of the game and did the job. And that's what you do in tournaments. You do just about enough to proceed.
Yeah, and Coach Rademacher, you'll be happy to know that the assist was provided by Serginho Dest, who, by the way, has ties to the Netherlands, and of course came up through the Ajax Academy before deciding to join the US. But your thoughts on the US getting the job done against the Iranians?
Yeah, it's an interesting view now, knowing that they're going to play the Netherlands in the next game. So I think US has a lot what they can offer. Even looking into that next match, look at that goal where it goes. I believe it was McKennie with the crossbar out wide to Dest as an overlapping player. I mean, we know it all too well from our school. We teach him. And then he brings it back across where Pulisic and they have more sharp players in front of the goal. So even look at the Netherlands team, that definitely can give trouble. So yeah, USA has made a good impression so far. I think they're growing in maturity as well in these games, a little bit able to manage it. I think Iran, I was expecting a little more of a last 20, 25 minutes where they would really pressure them. And I think USA was able to still somewhat control the game, so impressed with them so far.
Yeah, so we're going to have a look at the group standings now for both groups A and B, which were completed today. And while we have a look at that, I want to bring Coach Coley in on the discussion about the US. There you see the Netherlands topping Group A, with Senegal joining them in the round of 16 from that group. The Netherlands, of course, will face the US in the round of 16, and then Senegal, of course, will face England. That's how they match up. Coach Coley, the USA, a CONCACAF team, a team you know a lot about, having been the assistant for the Reggae Boys. Have they impressed you so far? I mean, how would you rank them?
Well, this before I answer, this was always going to be a tough game. It was about the technical team versus the more physical team. And it ended up being a more mental game, one team. And I noticed from 2 days ago, the teams who wants to win end up winning. The team who draw, and as I said, is in a great era, and not too sure in terms of how they came out. But the USA came out firing. They were blocking the mid space with the two strikers, and their midfielders were very dynamic. You see sometimes McKennie looking like a right midfielder, but he plays inside. He cover well Weah, and he protects this a lot. You find Musa doing exactly the same thing. So they were very compact. They were dictating how the Iranian play. They knew the Iranian team would come long. What I thought was they would come long and wide, but they were coming inside, and the defender was able to win the first ball, and the midfielder in Iran with the second ball. So I think they were very tactically astute. They controlled the tempo of the game. Now the question is, in terms of the Iranian team, was even before coming in the game, should they play with two strikers? And I believe they took the risk in terms of playing two strikers rather than an additional midfield. And I think that cost them somewhat in the first half. Because if you notice, when Des was crossing the ball, it was tiring with him. He was a little bit slow, very late, and allowed the cross to come in. So first you have to prevent the cross. And also look at Majid Hosseini. He has to make a deep cover and run very quickly. But that was the USA plan. They made the switch, a diagonal ball, and having the numerical superiority on the flank and putting across where they had the Mr. America and getting in the correct area and finishing superbly.
Yeah, I do remember, Coach Coley, that you had been very fond of the Iran team because of Carlos Queiroz and what he has been reputed to do with them. But of course, it came to an end for them today. We're going to take a break now on Final Whistle. I want to bring in the thoughts of Sharona and Liam on that USA team when we come back. All right, welcome back now to Final Whistle. We'll continue our discussion on the matches that we have just seen. We're discussing Iran versus the USA. Of course, news coming in all the while. Of course, Coach Andrew Price mentioning that Christian Pulisic had to leave the field with injury for the United States. So we'll be keeping a close eye on that because he's a key man as they go forward to play the Netherlands in the round of 16. But just to invite the thoughts now of Sharona Forrester on this United States team. Sharona, I don't know if they were your pick pre-tournament to leave the group, the US, with England, but what are your thoughts on their performance throughout the group stages?
Throughout the group stages, they grew from strength to strength. And I think today they showed that, an early goal, not just sitting back and taking the pressure, but being able to soak up the pressure and also, try to catch them on the counter and still making those runs. So I think they are young, but they're gaining experience as they go along. So I don't think any team should take them lightly.
Yeah. Well, Coach Rademacher has been chomping at the bit to talk about the Netherlands. The Netherlands safely through. Of course, I think it was more of a matter of a mere formality for the Netherlands today. Qatar were already out of the World Cup. And by the way, with the Netherlands beating them, Coach Rademacher, they condemned them to the dubious bit of history of being the only host nation not to even garner a point at the World Cup. Yeah, and so South Africa before them were the only host nation not to have progressed to the round of 16. So now they've created some history that's not good for the Qataris. But tell me about the Netherlands, Coach Rademacher. Cody Gakpo has been on fire, scored again today, so he scored a goal a game. But you don't seem too impressed with your home country.
It's great when some person who's supposed to perform are not there or not performing, that you have new players stepping up. And Gakpo is definitely somebody that was on the radar for some bigger clubs already. I know Man United had interest. With the performance over here, you can't imagine him staying at PSV much longer from the January window. But I think when I look at Netherlands, I can't help but look at some other coaches as well who hold on to their players and their system and their beliefs, but they performed in the past. And Van Gaal says it a lot. A proven record is something that he has mentioned a lot leading up to this. And players like Daley Blind have a proven record. Players like Dumfries have a proven record. Davy Klaassen has a proven record. But at the end of the day, Klaassen was too slow for the English Premier League about 3-4 years ago. He's on the bench for Ajax, makes some minutes here and there. Don't get me wrong, he gets to play, but you're playing against Qatar, a team that is not that great, is going to try to make the spaces small. You're playing with a five-man midfield with players like Dumfries, Blind, Klaassen, and their own. I think De Jong is the only player there that you say, all right, you can give him the ball, he can break down the line, he can force something. And I think it's a great match, even if Blind is going to come back in the World Cup. He plays 3 matches full 90, and he's not that player that can go then. So I question a little bit on our tactical decisions and the player selections who get to play. I saw Vincent Janssen come on again. We see certain players that I think are just not really at the level, but because they performed 2-3 years ago, he's holding on to it. And I'm afraid that when they now have a play good enough to beat Qatar, good enough to get through the round, but now when you get more serious opponents, can you step up for that game? Because you weren't really stepping up before. So, of course, I hope he's going to step it up, but I think there might be some changes needed. I'm happy Depay got more time. So hopefully he can join Gakpo in a good front line. As you mentioned, I fully believe if Depay doesn't play great, it's going to become very tricky to win.
Yeah. Coach Price, do you share those sentiments from Coach Rademacher that Louis van Gaal is probably holding this team back with his sticking to what has worked for him in the past?
Well, coaches are always going to play players that they trust and players that they can depend on. And Van Gaal is very trusting of a lot of the players. What I noticed in this game, he started Depay. That sends a signal that he's going to use him more in the round of 16 because he needs that experience up there with Gakpo to assist him. Gakpo is a great talent. He has been playing one of the most exciting players that I have seen in the World Cup, despite the Netherlands not performing well on a consistent basis. So I believe that, he's really looking for horses for the courses, and people like Depay will see more of him in the knockout phase, and I believe that it's the right timing. He held him back long enough. Now he has him unbridled now and ready to run.
Shavar, when you look at players the likes of Frankie de Jong in that midfield, who's the player really who is expected to drive that team forward, dictate play really, basically setting the plate for everyone else. What have you thought of his performances so far?
A bit slow out the gate. I think a lack of club games this season have played up to him, but he's growing, and they're looking to him to pull the strings. And I mean, it's good that he got a goal today, and we're looking forward to see what he does in the next round.
Yeah, I know a lot is made of systems and so on and so forth. The Netherlands getting the results, though, Sharona. Is it that Coach Rademacher's maybe griping a little bit too much because what Van Gaal has done so far has been working?
Yes, it has been working, and I guess you hope that the more you do it, the more you get it, and you produce the same results. But when you have teams coming with new blood and very auspicious and they want to take chances, sometimes you have to adapt and sometimes you may have to divert from your system.
Yeah, Coach Coley, what stands out to you about the Netherlands, and do you share the sentiments that maybe they could change the way they play, or is Louis van Gaal too set in his ways at this stage to change anything about how he sets up his team?
No, I think he will. Is maybe 70-something. He won't change. He's a very good coach. He has proven himself also doing exactly what he has. He hasn't. I think he has lost about 4 games coaching the Netherlands. So he has a tremendous record. I share some of the sentiments. A lot of just Blind. With Blind, the Netherlands team can only go to the middle and the right side in terms of attack. And they're too much on the field. And I believe the centre backs also have to make much more. They're very classic. No one driving the ball, joining maybe the Blind and joining Dumfries. One of the right or left centre back has to go up a little bit, push the ball, attract players, and start breaking the lines a little bit much better. So I think in terms of the system, it will remain, but how they play, they can change up 1 or 2 things. I also thought that Kappa would play like a number 10. They would use 2 6 and 1 10, a 6 and an 8, sorry, and a 10, and then have the 2 strikers. Maybe that can be more enterprising for them.
Liam, your thoughts on the Netherlands so far and how much of a contender they are? They come up against the USA in the round of 16. Should we look at them as favourites? All right, we'll get back to Liam once we sort out 1 or 2 things with them. But Coach Rademacher, I just wanted to come back to you with this, because you're a coach as well. You're looking on your home country, 1 as a fan, but I'm sure 2 as a coach. But as a coach, is Louis van Gaal happy? That, I mean, even though he's faced criticism that, listen, I've been getting results, and once I get results, I'll continue to do what I'm doing.
Of course, and we say sometimes maturity over here in the show, and it's something that he has been there, seen everything. So, it's to him, it's I need to win 1 match, and then I'm going to be world champion. If I just keep doing that, then I'm going to be champion. So, and he's been doing that today. So he's going to be happy for the win, but I know tactically there are certain things, where after after Costa Rica, we had the least amount of shots out of everybody in the World Cup. And Netherlands is a team that wants to play with flair. We want to entertain the people. So that's something that, of course, he's not happy about. But if you ask him, he say, we won, we advanced. That's all I care about.
Indeed. Of course, we do have Ecuador and Senegal to talk about as well. But before we continue our discussion, let's join the Maverick, who, as usual, is on the go. Where in the world will he end up? Let's see.
Okay. The Maverick is out and about, and the Maverick is on the go. And guess where the streets carry the Maverick today now? Yeah, with the Red Hills Road. Yeah, the busy thoroughfare of Red Hills Road in Kingston. We find another mini stadium up here, another mini World Cup stadium, yeah? The Quenchers Lounge, we call it the Quenchers Mini Stadium. 140 Red Hills Road right there. Yeah, and we find a real vibe stadium. See there, to all the World Cup fever go on bad, the Maverick will find back in farmers about. Watch it. Anyway, it's not about me. As we tell you, so we find a real vibes this spot right here on Red Hills Road, the Quenchers Sports Bar. And watch out, you see when the game are going, you see, me go tell the truth to go on up here, sir. All for gambling going up here, sir. Me see some man lose some money, me see some man lose some what, bucket deal, a bag of, and of course man lose, some man win. But anyway, England won in the end, and I think USA won in the end, and we have some happy people. The World Cup has stepped up its intensity, and when you talk about intensity, we are talking about insider quenchers right as well. Come with me. Follow me. Let me tell you, show you a little bit of what happened inside the quenchers. First of all right, a lot of activities are going on. See, I'm going to go on with the thing, but we find a couple. I call them the German couple, because they say they both support Germany. Right, let me just ask the lady first. First of all, this is one half of the couple. You told me that Germany is your team. Tell me why you support Germany.
Because my partner support Germany.
So you don't support Germany. All right. So you forced her to support Germany.
No, there was no forcing her to do nothing. She support Germany because I'm a German fan for life, baby. German fan for life.
All right, Germany kind of rocky in this World Cup. You lost your first game, but you get a point now. Now you have a crucial game coming up. How you feel?
I'm feeling good about the game coming up, and every other team is in trouble when we make it through the round of 16. Nobody want to see us through the round of 16. So once you make it there, it's all the way, baby. Germany all the way, baby.
And you have the full support. See the German thing, huh? All right, we have another lady here, but she's going to shy. She'll play Tetris. You want to say a word? You want to say a word? No, she's not. She's not saying anything to anybody. All right, let's go along. We have another bridge in here. Pretty vocal when the cameras are off. Let me see if we can find him voice now that the cameras are on. All right, you seem to know about everything, including World Cup football. Give me your quick assessment of the World Cup in Qatar to date.
Well, the World Cup in Qatar is very excited. I got very ecstatic about it. I think the goal, that's what Richardson scored, that is one of the best goals I've ever seen in a World Cup. And Brazil is my team. From a boy at 60-year-old, a Brazil me a carry. No, come, Tuesday, them are going to whop up Cameroon.
Big up yourself. That's coming from the 60-year-old boy. I am saying, the 60-year-old boy. All right, we have some more people around us there. Claim them are experts in football. Some of the loudest man them inside there when the game are going. We are calling this man here. Ross, where's some of us? Eh?
Yes, sir. Bless up yourself, man.
Yeah.
But we say Argentina all the way.
Yeah.
No doubt. Messiah, magic again. Tomorrow against Poland, 2 o'clock. Log in.
We have not more to say. See our next Messiah man on us. Eh? Wrong thing. Oh, say. Put him up. All right. Tell him.
The great Cristiano Ronaldo, man. I win World Cup. CI7, man, for life. Yeah. Everything I did.
Him try thief Bruno goal yesterday. What you say about that?
Oh, I don't know, man. We have to take goal enough. I will get it, we have to take it. But I don't know, I Bruno double, man. 11 man per my side. I will say 6 and 9 points. Watch Friday.
All right. We have to talk to this lady. We have to talk to this lady here because she has a unique, well, it's not unique still, but she has a special team where most of the people inside don't carry on the World Cup. Who is your team in this World Cup?
Definitely France, definitely.
And you have a unique reason why France is your team. Tell the listeners to TVJ Final Whistle why France is your team.
Because I personally think that the captain for France is super hot.
You see it? Hotness a captain she going on. And a football she are watching. Eh? What you say? Argentina, my boss?
Argentina for life, you know?
All right, go and do it. All right, it's the Maverick, you know. The Maverick is on the go. The Maverick is on the go. And we are at 140 Reddy's Road. The whole Reddy's Road strip no good again. But guess what? Time limited. So the Maverick has got to be on the go.
Well, you just never know where that guy will turn up next. You have to stay tuned to Final Whistle to find where the Maverick will pop up next. But as usual, lots of Brazil and Argentine supporters with France in there as well, Germany in there as well. We have to discuss the Ecuador versus Senegal contest because that one carried plenty of permutations coming into today. Senegal getting the win over Ecuador by 2-1 and making progress to the round of 16 for the first time in 20 years, since 2002. The Senegalese getting out of the group stages. Let me start with you on this one, Coach Price. I would say that Ecuador started as one of the young, hot teams in this World Cup, and Senegal didn't start as well. No, here we have Senegal finishing strong and Ecuador losing out on a place in the round of 16. What were your thoughts?
Well, that's why they call this the greatest show on earth. You know, the unexpected will take place. Going into this match, Ecuador, I believe, was a farm team. Senegal, even though they got that win in their second game, were really the underdogs going into this game. But they didn't play like underdogs today. They really took the game to the Ecuadorians and got the lead through a penalty. Sarr was menacing down the left side of the field for the entire game, especially when he cuts in that sweet right foot that he has. And, you know, they got the penalty and the go-ahead goal. But Ecuador in the second half tried to make a game of it. You know, they got back in there, had a lot of set plays, and they converted on one of those set plays, and it was 1-1. And then minutes later, who I thought was the man of the match was Koulibaly. Scored an excellent volley from another set play. So we see a lot of set plays featuring in the World Cup, and gave his team the lead, and they battled on and held on. Ecuador put on a very brisk run at them in the last 20 minutes, but it just wasn't enough. Senegal wouldn't be denied, and they're into the round of 16, and I'm happy that another Afghan team has gone through.
Coach Kohli, when you look at the Ecuadorian team, what did you think of how they approached this contest against Senegal?
Well, I thought they were a little bit naive in terms of how they played. I didn't believe that they were trying to control the game, like playing the first 15, the 30, you know, step by step, means section by section or quarter by quarter. I didn't think they did that. The Senegal team, they were playing a high game speed. I thought there were moments in which the Ecuadorians could have, you know, slowed down the game a little bit more to, you know, and just to change the temperature of the game. They didn't do that. However, I believe they missed Mendes a lot in the midfield, because he was a player who went between the two center backs, and he would sometimes create numerical superiority there, you know, and, you know, play the ball a little bit more. Prashado and Espenan, they are basically some of the playmakers for the team. And as a result of the Ecuador not keeping the ball in front, they didn't come into play. So in terms of how they normally play, it was a different game. But the World Cup is the greatest show. You have to repeat performance. You have to concentrate. You have to many times have the mentality to win the game also, but win the game in a controlled way, have a very good game plan. And I believe in terms of how the Ecuadorian came out, I didn't think they created a block, and I think Senegal deserved to win.
Yeah, Coach Rademacher, did Ecuador approach the game like that because they were trying not to lose? It seemed like because Senegal knew they had to win, they had more impetus in this contest.
I mean, Coach Kohli pointed out earlier the teams that are kind of half thoughts, like, all right, a draw is enough for me, but if they score, then I know I need to get another goal. It's a more difficult, and the reason is that there's no real right or wrong tactic. There's a tactic, and if everybody believes in a tactic, and everybody knows the system, and everybody executes, a particular tactic will work. And when it comes to two different tactics based on what's going on in the game, it becomes trickier now to really execute that. And when you go for a draw, even when you go for a win, because the coach said we're going for the win over here, and you come out and you still kind of play and start in a careful way because you don't want to concede, it can be tricky to really then come out and show energy. And Senegal showed intensity, they showed energy from the start. But there was nobody doubting, should we, you know, maybe make sure we don't concede. Everybody knew we have to go hard, and it can be tricky for a team to make that adjustment. And I think Senegal did very well today. And throughout the World Cup, I think you need your leader, and Koulibaly stepped up not just as a defender, but, you know, you need to go and say, even that I'll do. So that's great to see.
Yeah, I want to get more thoughts on what the mentality should be going into contests like this. Let's take a break now, though, on Final Whistle. Stay with us. Lots more discussion after this. Welcome back to Final Whistle. Thanks so much for staying with us. We're continuing to look back at what we saw earlier today. We'll preview what we're likely to see tomorrow in just a short while. Just want to bring Sharona in on what the mentality should be, you think, from a player's perspective, going into a contest. If you're Ecuador, knowing you don't want to lose, but you don't have to win the contest to go through. Is it more of a mindset of trying to get that win, or is playing cagey really a setup because it allows your opponent to really pounce on any mistakes you make?
At this stage, last round, you should be going for the win. You don't want if, but, or maybe. And I think today, that match in particular showed how leaders affect the whole spirit of the team. Now, Kobali was pumping his team. He was present. He was going at it. But Ena Valencia, he was more playing like an actor or something, trying to get cheeky fouls here and there, not going for the ball, not getting into space as he would normally do. So I found that the team was a little flat. I didn't see Caicedo, and even some of the crosses that were made from the left back and right back, they were to nobody. You know, nobody was on the end of it, and they really felt flat today, and they started playing really late. You know, really, really late. So it was an unexpected performance from the Ecuadorians, but the Senegalese, from the whistle blew, right? They were in Ecuador's face going, you expected them to score even more based on how they were playing. And that kind of mentality will break down your opponent and it will get you a win.
Yeah, Ena Valencia really was the inspirational leader of this young Ecuadorian team, most experienced player and their goal scorer as well. And you kept hearing a lot of the commentators say, well, this Ecuadorian team is so young that the next 4 years is probably when they'll fully be in their prime. Of course, there are no guarantees in sport or life, but I'm sure they'll be looking forward to having a better tournament in 4 years' time if they do make it there. Let's go ahead now to look forward to what we're likely to see tomorrow. Some exciting games coming up. The French, the holders, already booking their place into the round of 16. They will face Tunisia in one of the matches from Group D tomorrow. Chavar, what should we expect from the French? Coach Didier Deschamps has been dealing with injuries from before the World Cup even kicked off. And now he's in a position of luxury where he's already through. Does he go and make sure he tops the group, or does he rest players now and ensure that he has the best players available for the round of 16?
Yeah, I mean, he has the opportunity to do all of that. And I think if I was Didier, I would rest some of my players, keep them fresh so they can come back in the knockout round and, you know, perform. They're going to go against a tough Tunisian team, and they know, but I think France have the quality to go through and to get the win.
Yeah, Coach Price, what do you do? Do you rest? Do you start your best players? How do you approach it?
Well, you know, when you look at the quality of this France team, you know, they have the depth where they can rest the players and play players who haven't played. People like Kamavinga can get a game in this game. They have several defenders that they can bring in, and I believe that they'll still be competitive against a Tunisian team. And the fact of the matter is that having won the group already, you're already assured of topping the group. Then you can experiment and look at other players, and this is the best time to do it. This French team, I think, is built for defending their championship, and I really believe that he'll play a team tomorrow with some rotations. Not a lot, but there'll be some rotations tomorrow as he wants people to be fresh for the second round.
Yeah, Coach Rademacher?
I mean, yes, I rotate players, you know, and I think even to get a certain drive from those other players that come on that you know, could add more instead of the players that kind of say, all right, we played, this is the third match. So I think that's what we're going to see. It's going to be very interesting to see Tunisia. They're still going to have a look on, you know, what is happening in the Denmark game. But it's going to be interesting to see Tunisia with that mentality. We have nothing to lose. We have to win over here against a team like France, who's not going to sit back. France is going to want to have the ball. So in those transition moments, I think Tunisia is really going to be very intense, and hopefully they can create something so we have a nice game for them.
Coach Coley, how much importance do you put on winning in a scenario like this? If you're France, if you're Didier Deschamps, do you just say, okay, a draw is good enough, we don't necessarily need to go all out here and risk further injury, given how many issues they've had in that department? Or do you say, winning is a habit, we want to keep doing it, let's get our best out there?
Well, with the French team, based on the mentality of the players, you can draw the game and still go in with a good momentum based on the mentality. But we definitely want to go into the second round and win the game. But you don't win the championship, you don't win the World Cup in the first round. So it's very important that you go in the second round with the best players, fresh also more than just when you talk about momentum. But the French team is a very good team. The Tunisia team is very strong, but I think they lack technical ability. And even if you realize that even on the counter many times, without the like of Misakni, they cannot convert chances, especially on the counter. So the French will be mindful of that. And I think even when they change the team, especially inside of the midfield, they could rotate, because I was telling you a couple of days ago about the numbers that those players are running inside of the midfield. So it's some place that he could look to make some changes, because midfield gonna win the games, and especially how transitional the game are in nowadays.
Yeah, by the way, Coach Coley, want to stick with you on this point. When you're making wholesale changes, is there any particular aspect of the team that you think, okay, I don't want to make too many changes here because I want to keep this solid, I want to keep this cohesion going? For example, in the back four, does he say, okay, let's have that remain as it is and make the changes more in midfield and up front? Or is it that you can make the changes anywhere? How do you think of it?
Well, you want to keep your midfield together as much. Sorry, not your midfield, your defense together as much as possible, because it's very difficult to coordinate with defenders when somebody coming in the game. You can change. They have the feeling, but to start the game, you always want to keep your back four as solid as. You can change this.
Yeah, they call it the spine of the team, Coach Price. Are you big on that as well?
Yeah, very much. I mean, especially your defensive unit, you want to keep that very consistent, that there's a lot of understanding between the players, and have them out there playing together for a longer period, where you can make more changes in midfield and up front. You don't want to tinker too much with your defensive unit. You want that unit to be sound, be assured and safe. So you want them to play consistently together.
Australia and Denmark, Shavar. I think maybe most people coming into this tournament expected more of the Danish, but the Aussies have 3 points. Denmark will know they have to win to progress. What are your thoughts on that contest?
I expect the Danish team to be more clinical in the box. Their end product is what's letting them down. They have done a good job defensively in terms of their structure, and also moving the ball and keeping the ball and getting chances. But in front of the goal, they're not so proficient. So I'm looking forward to. I mean, they should advance. In the second, being second place behind France. But if they're not proficient in front of the box, then no chance.
Yeah, Coach Rademacher, should we expect more of this Danish team? Do they have the tools to do what Coach Thomas is saying, to be more clinical in front of goal?
Yeah, I mentioned earlier, the bigger teams that expect to win, they kind of step up now when we look at England, we look at Netherlands when it matters. And I think Denmark can put themselves in that category, at least where they should be. Really, all they need is a big score against Australia. Even if Tunisia would beat France, it probably come down to goal difference. So they're on their own. They need to beat a weaker team like Australia. They should look at themselves, the names, the competition they're playing, and they say, we have to go hard on these guys and put down a 4-0 to make sure that we advance comfortably. Yeah,
Sharona, does Australia have the resources to stop a Denmark team if they come out in marauding form?
No, not if they come out in that form. They showed improvements, and we're hoping to see more of that. But I'm sure nobody's going to go leaving the World Cup without a fight. So we can expect that matchup to be a clash tomorrow.
Yeah, Coach Coley, what should we expect here in Australia versus Denmark?
Well, one team coming with one particular way to play, which is play the ball wide and put in the crosses. And the Danish team has to be mindful of this. You see what happened with Tunisia. One cross, finding due, and there's a goal. So they have to be mindful of this, that the Australians are very, very, very dangerous when it comes to crosses. And they have to first prevent the cross. They have to especially the defender has to be pessimistic, knowing that the cross is going to come in and defend it very well. But the Danish team, they have to play with a high rhythm, with a high spirit. they're a very good team. I think they have what it takes to progress to the next round and compete also to get a quarterfinal spot. But a strong team. All respect to the Aussies. But you don't want to be telling your kids as a Danish football player that you were knocked out of the World Cup by Austria.
Australia. No disrespect to Australia. But of course, they do have 3 points, and it's another case of that scenario you spoke about. The Aussies know they don't have to win, but Denmark know they'll have to win to make it through to the round of 16. Let's take another break here on Final Whistle. More discussion after this. All right, welcome back now to Final Whistle. So one final group to break down for tomorrow, Group C, and it features two-time World Cup winners Argentina. And that is a very, very interesting group indeed. The Argentines getting on the board in terms of winning their game against Mexico 2-0. Now they have 3 points, but they know they'll need a result, need something against Poland when they face off tomorrow at 2 p.m. in Group C. Coach Price, let me start with you. What should we expect of the Argentines given an inspired performance in their last match? How do they approach this contest?
After the slip-up in the first game against Saudi Arabia, there is no margin of error for the Argentine team. And I believe Messi and company will be coming full tilt tomorrow to get all 3 points. And I don't think they'll be denied. I believe that win against Mexico got them a lot of confidence, re-energized them, and I think they'll be raring to go tomorrow as they anticipate getting into the round of 16.
Coach Shavar has been nodding his head straight the way through. I'm sure you agree with everything.
Yeah, I echo the same sentiments. I mean, tomorrow you should see the GOAT again coming to rising to the top and leading the team. You know, they should be really confident after that win because it was a tough game. And they should be ready for tomorrow because, I mean, if they lose, it's over. So, I mean, I expect them to come out and play really good football.
Yeah, what's the key for them?
The key is give Messi the ball. I mean,
same thing.
I mean, give Messi the ball, and you need support from his cast. You know, Laturo should be out there ready to go, as well as De Maria. So they should be helping him.
Yeah, Coach Rademacher, there were some changes made by Scaloni for that game against Mexico. Did those changes prove to be a difference? And should he go with that team that played against Mexico? Or, I mean, what does he do here in terms of what he goes with?
I do want to get back to, what Shavar was saying, Argentina, Africa. I think when we look back, we forget how a game went after a goal score, everything changed. But I think Argentina was struggling, and especially Messi in particular, up until he got the goal, was not running the game for Argentina. And as they say, get the ball to Messi and things will get right. But I don't think that was the version of Messi we saw in the first 1.5 games. Yes.
But was that down to tactical instructions from the coach?
I don't think so. It's partially former Messi. It's partially, as you say, your supportive cast, how you have the chemistry. But it could be an important moment when he did get the ball and the Mexicans gave him the space at the edge of the box. He's going to score. And once you have that momentum, maybe can go with that. But I think it will be crucial for Poland to don't give him the space, because if you take him out, at least in that final third, if you take the space away from Messi and he's not in form, he doesn't create that real magic, they might have a chance against Argentina. And then it becomes important to have more than just Messi. go wide, have more width over there. Let Di Maria go put on a show and shift the focus to put extra coverage there, and now free up other players. So I don't want to say, it's going to be an easy win for Argentina, and I think it's crucial for Poland to really get it tight around those areas for Messi, because I do believe that goal give him that energy and say, all right, I let go that weight now. I get the goal, we get to win, the country behind me. And it can be hard to stop a team with Messi in it once they get in that mode.
Coach Coley, does the team need to ensure that Messi is running the game, as Coach Rademacher's alluded to, from the first half this time? I mean, how does Scaloni set his team up to ensure that his best player is in the best possible position to succeed?
Well, Messi has to find those spaces. They definitely play with a model around Messi. We saw in the last match he came a little bit deeper. There was much more balance in terms of who he played. He came deeper and tried to play make, and also many times he played between the lines. But what I believe is very, very important is that Argentina has to force Poland, or based on what they do, to play a little bit wide, with more space. What's important and also to be very creative in the wide areas. I noticed many times in the last match, Demar sometimes gets the ball and he go. But sometimes what you need to do is sometimes bring the lines together, play back, and allow the midfield to go up, because many times the defender will take 2 or 3 seconds before they go, and allows the team to be a little bit much more wider. And then you can play Messi in the half space. So tactically, what they do on the ball is going to be very, very important. It's not about just Messi. It's about how tactically they prepare, and so to create more space that Messi can operate with, and also to create more space with which players can run behind, because they don't have players who run behind. And I think that will be crucial, and it's very necessary against a Polish team.
By the way, Miguel, just a quick word on Poland. Do they have the tools to be able to stop Argentina?
Well, I think as a European team with not much talent, not a very strong team, they will create a block. And when you're structured, it can be very, very difficult for any team. Especially, the Polish team, the last game, they didn't look so ambitious. They won the game, yes, but it's not a matter of they were enterprising. But, they can also always create a block there. But it's about what the Argentina do in terms of how they allow the Polish team to create space within, so they can break the lines. And that's where when Messi is dangerous, when he have half a second, 1 second, and he can run at players and, dissect any defense in the world.
Yeah, Sharona, how do you see this one playing out between Poland and Argentina?
Well, I think Poland will definitely come as this last hurrah, because they don't want to just frazzle out in the tournament. And I think Argentina, well, Poland only needs a draw. Argentina needs a win. So the determination that Argentina will have, plus the caliber of players, should put them over the line.
Yeah, I don't know if it's time for predictions yet, but Saudi Arabia will play Mexico in the other contest. Coach Price, we talk about teams from CONCACAF. We talk about what we should expect the USA going through to the round of 16. Saudi Arabia surprised Argentina in that first game, but then, brought back down to earth. What should we expect in this contest between Poland and Mexico and Saudi Arabia?
I believe that Mexico will win that match. I think that basically they're wounded after losing to Argentina, and also seeing that the United States have qualified for the round of 16. They want to also do well for CONCACAF, and I think they want to finish the tournament on a bang, and they'll put in a good showing against the Saudi Arabian team. The Mexican team is a very good team. Despite being beaten by Argentina, they played a very good game. Just giving Messi too much space in certain aspects of the game, that's why they lost the game. I don't think that Saudi Arabia has a type of quality that can affect the Mexican team in that manner, and I expect Mexico to win the game.
Yeah, by the way, you said finish on a bang. They're still in with a
yes, within a chance, yes, depending on how the other games go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, Shavar, what should we expect the approach to be for Tata Martinez's men?
No, I mean, they have the players up front that can cause the Saudi Arabia defense line a lot of trouble in Lozano, and they just need to go out there and execute, because tactically they're very astute. So is the Saudi Arabia team. Their defensive structure is very strong, and they're very disciplined. but I think the Mexican team have enough to break them down.
Coach Coley, what do you think about Mexico and their chances of coming out on top here and possibly making it to the round of 16?
Listen, my prediction so far is what, at 60%. I hope tomorrow, I can, probably reach 70%. But I'm expecting an enterprising game, two enterprising team. They play very well, good football. And at the same time, they are very good tactical. What is important for Mexico is to get more balls in the wide area, in which they did against Argentina. They have a like of Lasona and Vega. They are very, very good players. And get the ball in the right areas, put in the cross, especially early, because the Saudi Arabian tend to not provide a lot of deep coverage. But when you probably take 2 touch when the ball goes wide, they have time to go back. For the Saudi Arabian team, they need to finish. They need to be much more clinical in front. But I hope they don't finish tomorrow, because I need Mexico to win and I need my percentage to go up.
Okay, so you had Mexico and Argentina leaving the group.
Yes, so that goes to 70%. Thank you.
Hopefully, for your sake. Hopefully that percentage goes up. I want to get predictions because we're almost out of time for the games we'll see tomorrow. Let me start with you, Coach Rademacher. Let's start with Poland, Argentina. Your prediction?
2-1 Argentina.
Mexico, Saudi Arabia?
1-0 Saudi Arabia.
Okay, and Australia, Denmark?
Denmark 2-0.
And Tunisia, France?
1-1.
Really? Sharona?
Tunisia, France 2-0. Denmark, Australia, I'll go with Denmark 1-0. Poland, Argentina 2-1 Argentina. Saudi Arabia, Mexico, I'll go with Saudi Arabia.
All right, let me just get from Coach Price and Coach Thomas quickly. Just one word. Poland versus Argentina.
Argentina.
Saudi Arabia, Mexico.
Mexico.
Australia, Denmark.
Denmark.
Tunisia, France.
France.
And Coach Thomas, for you?
Easy bet.
France, Tunisia is France.
Denmark, Australia.
Denmark.
Saudi Arabia, Mexico.
Mexico.
And Poland, Argentina.
Argentina.
All right, that's the final whistle. We're out of time. Thank you so much to all our panelists. Thank you to you, the viewers, and thanks to our production team led by Yannick Jones. We're out of time on Final Whistle. Join us tomorrow, same time, same place. Until then, I'm Jordan Fort. Bye-bye for now.